Madam has confessed to the world that she's certified crazy, on paper crazy. And we really didn't need her to tell us this because the opening scene of season 1, episode 1, we kind of figured that part out already. But what we didn't know is that something was undeniably missing from Madam's life before she was Madam. And I'm going to dive deep into this scene right here from this recent episode, episode 5. I kind of touched on her backstory and who she is just a little bit a couple of videos ago where I talked about Madam and her dad and their relationship. Madam is a princess who has a ton of Ken and Barbie dolls who she considers her friends. She invites them all over to play house with her, then she kills everybody who she invited. These are the vibes that Madam exude on a daily basis. This woman should never be left alone. She should not be walking around the streets of Atlanta by herself. In all fairness, Madam is hardly ever alone though, but it really doesn't help the situation when all of her Ken and Barbie friends support her erratic, emotionless behavior. She really needs to be stopped. And by her own admission, she's a certified psychopath and has been diagnosed as such from just a tender age of 11 years old. In this episode, she pulled back the veil of her life pre-Madam, and she told us that she tried dating a regular guy one time, which alludes to the fact that she has to date triggers that are more on her level, you know, the crazy ones. But the only reason that she dated the quote-unquote regular one is because he had a good job and a big schlong dong. And this regular guy would just do regular guy stuff, you know, dinner, movies, romantic trips, the huge. And that normal life lasted for about 6 weeks until finally, one day Madam woke up and said, something is missing. She told us that this regular guy wasn't living life and that she lived for the thrill of blowing a brains out. Her words, not mine. And after she'd blow a trigger's head off of his shoulders, she'd sit and wonder if the police would catch her. She said that this type of action is what gets her sugary box moist. This is what turns her on. This is why her and Concierge hit it off so well in the bedroom. He's just like her. She then made this uncanny comparison to Casanova, being that he likes to blow motherfuckers' heads off too. His is just a bit more justified because he's a cop. And this made Casanova curious. You know, he wanted to know what Madam planned on doing with him, being that she just shot past his ear instead of blowing his mother-loving head off. He begged her to let him write a note to his kid. And I laughed when I heard this, only because it sounds like a Tyler Perry penmanship. Do I have any Ruthless fans in the building? He thought that because he mentioned his kid, that this would soften Madam a little bit. He thought that by telling her this, that the empathy would just start running out of her heart. But in fact, it did the complete opposite. It did absolutely nothing. She said that she wished that she could sympathize with people, but she just can't. Then Madam went a little bit deeper and shared more about her past. She told us that the reason that she was seeing the doctor and the therapist in the first place is because she beat the living stew out of this little girl who was talking about her eyes. That must have been one hell of a beating for a kid to have to go see a therapist after you got into a fight. I just wonder what damage she did to the little girl. I'm almost afraid to ask. This sent Casanova begging and pleading again, begging Madam to let them work together. But it's a little too late for that because when she did trust him, he came in the club wearing wires and trying to set her up. So that's an automatic hell no. This is why Madam is able to sleep at night with all of this blood on her hands. This is why she's able to let blood and flesh drip onto her face from another human being after slashing his throat with a butcher's knife. This is why she feels absolutely nothing after watching acid literally melt another man's face right off of his shoulders and not blink twice. Because she feels nothing. Psychopaths don't know how to act in public. They exhibit violent social behavior and they're emotionally disconnected for the most part. And this is why Madam is always cutting up in front of company. This is a little story time here. I'm not a drinker, right? Well, not really, but sometimes. Is it just me, or is there anyone else who likes to slurp the wine out of their wine glass? After you swirl it around just a little bit, you know, to make sure that the ice is clinging up against the edge of the glass. Like, I don't know, I like ice in my wine. It's just got to be something else there in the glass, you know, make it a little bit more interesting. Is it just me? Comment down below. So let me know what you guys think about this scene from season 3, episode number 5 of All the Queen's Men. Madam is one who thinks that the police won't and can't catch her. She's the gingerbread man. Thanks for liking the video, you guys, sharing the video. You know I appreciate it. And if you're a fan of All the Queen's Men like I am, go ahead and sub to the channel for more videos just like this one. Thank you so much for tuning in, you guys, and I'm going to see you on the next one.